Why are more women not writing "I hate this man" type music? Like I know there is.
I feel like
there's
they
plenty.
are. I feel like a lot of women are writing that kind of song, honestly. And I see a lot of people commenting like, "Oh, like imagine a guy wrote this about a girl. This would never fly." And it's like,
allow me to show you
fine.
the entire history of recorded music.
But you guys can do a lot of things that we can't. That kind of stuff is important as an escape when there is so much going on in the world, you know? And like, I think people always are going to want those kind of songs to listen to. And for me, it's just like, I write the song so that I could get it off my chest. And I think it's the coolest thing in the world.
Please note, for maximum picture quality, it may be necessary to adjust the tracking control on your VCR. And now for our feature presentation.
Welcome to the Emo Social Club podcast, broadcasting to you on Adobe Radio. I am Brian.
And I'm Lizzie.
Today, we come to you bearing gifts.
Another interview.
This one is with LØLØ.
From Canada.
From Canada's own LØLØ.
You know, there was a few weeks ago we were like, who's from Canada? And now we're finding out who's from Canada.
My favorite thing is to ask who's from places that we know people from.
Yeah.
Like, who's from this place? Like, hey guys, me. Oh my God, where'd you come from?
That's so crazy. I thought you were just like from here.
Is that Matt Vatisse from Instagram? Go follow Matt Vatisse on Instagram.
He's great. He texted me the other day when he was at the Wonder Years show. Yeah. He's like, oh, I think ops are here. I said, that's so crazy.
You got ops in Okay. And now here's the question of this week. Who has ops in Canada?
Someone who isn't my op from Canada's LØLØ.
LØLØ? Not an op. Yeah, we talk about Warped Tour. We talk about a new record. We talk about her music. We talk about having fun with music and writing for yourself and writing for the joy of music.
And actually getting specific when it comes to lyrics too.
Yeah. But the most important thing we talk about, and I led this conversation, is women. And I think it's important. I don't like, you know, we're meeting these people for the first time. I assume people aren't going to understand that I'm being ironic.
Well, one of the things we should have asked LØLØ is when she included one of her lyrics being more hyper-focused about someone she had dated previously.
Mine are about the meantime.
Are your hyper-focused lyrics about
my hyper-focused
about
podcast episodes are about the meantime. LØLØ's paintbrush is her lyrics and her music. My paintbrush is a weekly podcast.
Hey, so remember that other episode where we were talking about
and I am fucking Picasso
about white men with podcasts being evil?
Yes. Okay, are you going to tell me that when
You're
Rembrandt sat down and he was making a painting?
What do you know about Rembrandt?
Let me make my point.
What do you know about art history?
Lizzie, first of all, white man on a podcast is talking. Let's listen. Okay, let's listen in, see what he's going to say. First of all, let's let him
garbage.
Let him, yes, but let me cook with it.
You're cooking with garbage?
Yeah.
Oh, yucky.
Everything you're saying is yes, the point. It's the truth and the point, okay? When Rembrandt sat down to paint and he grabbed his tools and his paints and his brushes, was he not doing a podcast? But just before,
name one of Rembrandt's piece of work.
Rembrandt #1.
No.
The problem is, like, I'm using paintbrush as a metaphor, and that's like, when Beethoven sat down to conduct a symphony, was he not making a podcast?
Name a Beethoven symphony. That isn't Speed Over.
Fourth.
It's Speed Over Beethoven from
okay,
VDR.
No. First of all, what you're doing right now is asking a white man to name 3 songs. Okay, so
let's check. You should get it more often.
Check your privilege. And number 2, what you're going to have to do is, if you ask me, you also have to be able to name 3 songs. Name 3 Beethovens.
Speed Over Beethoven.
That's not fucking DDR. Doesn't count. He didn't put his name in the song, dude. Beethoven was not meta. Name 3 Rembrandts. See? You don't fucking know either. I can say whatever right now.
But that's the thing. Name some.
Okay.
If you're going to use
Starry Night.
That's Vincent Van Gogh.
And let me tell you about Vincent Van Gogh's podcast.
Hey guys, this might be it.
R.I.P. Van Gogh, R.I.P. Picasso, R.I.P. Rembrandt. You would have loved podcasts.
And you name only male artists. You don't talk about any female.
Well, let's mention a female artist right now and hand it over to our interview with LØLØ.
Georgia O'Keeffe.
Fuck off. Welcome to the Emo Social Club podcast. I'm Brian.
And I'm Lizzie, and we're talking with LØLØ today. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I want to talk to you about your CD Burners appearance. I'm the editor for CD Burners, and you talked about Ashlee Simpson's autobiography, and I just want to say thank you for bringing attention to an underrated and under-realized and under-listened to album from my childhood.
Oh my God, you're welcome. Honestly, like, I feel like Ashlee is forgotten a lot of the times, but for me, like growing up, I loved her. I loved Hilary Duff, and Michelle Branch. And like, I feel like sometimes it like teeters on like, is this considered a part of the scene? But I feel like that's kind of how I am too as an artist. So it kind of works.
I think that to put myself out there, Pieces of Me was my ringtone for like 7 years. As a high school man, I'm like, good. This is really going to put me into some cool music circles in my high school. But then I'm like, no, this is scene. Like, this is like, there's guitar in it. There's rock music. It's just, I think that in that time period when, Fall Out Boy was getting big and Panic came out and there's all these other bands that are quote unquote like rock music, right? And then it's like, well, Ashlee Simpson is doing rock music. There's guitar, and it's just is it because she's a woman? Like, is that what we're doing right now? I'm unsure. But I always thought it was rock music.
I mean, it's pop rock technically, but it absolutely was in that vein. Same thing with some of like those Disney acts during that time too, for sure. Especially like Hilary Duff and Metamorphosis, I would say too, and like Demi Lovato.
100%. I mean, these are all my favorite people, so you're speaking my language.
Yeah, no, definitely, especially with Hilary Duff on her comeback too with her new music. So there's a lot of good female acts from the mid and early 2000s that are kind of in their resurgence era, which is awesome. And then we also have you, and we have a plethora of other new female artists that are more in that pop punk and pop rock and rock pop, however we want to formulate it together, genre as well, especially with your upcoming album that comes out on the 17th. God forbid a girl spits out her feelings. If you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yes, I'm very excited. This album, honestly, I was very stressed out trying to make it because I just loved my debut album so much and I loved how it sounded. And I feel like as an artist, you either have to, you're like, okay, well, you kind of have to metamorphosize, not to quote Hilary Duff, but like, you kind of have to come back new. It's like, well, I can't just do the same thing I did again. Then people will be like, well, this is the exact same thing. I have to either like come with some product that is like different or better, or at least that's how I felt. And I think that I achieved that. I mean, I really feel like I did, but you never know until people listen to it, until the fans check it out. But I have always gotten, and I kind of touched on this before, like, is she too pop for rock? Or like, does she belong here? Or I always felt insecure about this anyway. So I was kind of like, I'm going to just lean into like the Ashlee Simpson, Michelle Branch kind of vibe. And what would that look like? Whereas on my last album, I was kind of like, always referencing, I always reference like Green Day and Weezer and that kind of stuff. But this was kind of like a new leaf for me.
With that kind of development process, what was kind of your theming for this album, if anything?
Well, it's funny because last time I had such a clear theme and I kind of wrote the songs after I knew the theme. And then for this album, it was a lot messier, a lot like more chaotic and all over the place. And I'm trying to piece it together. And through that experience of this like messy, emotional thing that was just causing me to be so oversensitive and over emotional, I was like, I kind of got my theme of the album by not having a theme, because I was like, okay, this is just like going to be this like spitting out feelings, this messy, unhinged kind of thing. And through that, I thought of the title, God Forbid a Girl Spits Out Her Feelings. So me not being prepared, I guess, with a theme helped me find my theme. So it was great.
I feel like, unfortunately, in this time of our lives, in this time in the world, it's like, why wouldn't I want to just hear somebody go, hey, I don't know I don't know. I'm just going to say everything that I'm feeling right now. And it's like, yeah, perfect. Oh, what a beautiful thing.
For real. I mean, I think it's such a like mentally draining time that we're going through right now with everything going on in the world and just so much content, and then the need to always be posting content and just being so like chronically online and people just being, so I think that like it was the only way I was able to go about this.
Let's give spoilers about the record. How are you using the songs in this record to process like what's going on in the world and what's going on with you?
Honestly, I'm such I don't want to say selfish writer, but I guess selfish writer in terms of like, for me, I'm never thinking about the song coming out. I'm never thinking about people listening to it. For me, I write music like a diary. I mean, I use music to help me get things out and get things off my chest. And I'm not very profound, honestly. And I'm not going to sit here being like, I'm changing the world, because I'm writing about like breakups and falling in love and that kind of stuff. But I think that like, that kind of stuff is important as an escape when there is so much going on in the world, and like, I think people always are going to want those kind of songs to listen to. And for me, it's just like, I write the song so that I could get it off my chest. And I think it's the coolest thing in the world when other people are like, you wrote this to get this off your chest. Yes. But by listening to this and screaming the lyrics, I'm getting this off my chest. And I think that's so cool when like a room full of people are screaming it back to me, or people are, in my DMs telling me how I wrote this exactly about their situation and it helped them so much. And I've gotten so much of that. And so I think that, sometimes I'm like, oh, like, should I be writing more profound things? But I mean, I think it's profound to me, so it's profound to other people. But, it may not be, I might not be like changing the world with that, but I hope that I can help people escape at least.
We saw you open for Simple Plan 303 Bowling for Soup.
Insane lineup.
It's okay that you're not being profound, because also you need some fun times and some like comedy and some enjoyment and the joy of like music and being around the people. Just, not doing the most profound thing. Although I do think that Rich Man coming back into the general culture is
so
a positive
happy.
thing.
I wasn't happy when people were online and saying like, we have to cancel 303.
No,
babes,
no. It's
sorry,
fun.
we're way too
having
past. We're
fun.
past this. We're having a good time. These guys are not like this. I can attest. We have met them, hung out.
Yeah, I remember that. And it's so funny too, because I was talking to Sean about this kind of, and he was telling me how like they, that like Helen Keller's granddaughter or great granddaughter or something reached out to them and said that like the whole family loves that line and like this whole thing. Yeah, I don't know.
That is
I'm like, I hope I was allowed to share this. But yeah, and I feel like he said he like spoke at something, like some sort of something to do with her. But anyways, they're not offended. So why is anyone else offended? Like, everyone needs to relax. Music is fun, please.
Yes.
Music is fun. Now, the only other thing is this has to go out to the internet because so many people don't think Helen Keller existed. And this all proves that she did exist.
That's crazy. I remember I feel like years ago, people were also like tweeting about like, wait, the Titanic happened. It's not just a movie. And I'm like, I'm scared. I'm scared of this society.
Okay, never mind. I think you need to write some music that is profound, but it's mostly just to educate the new generation on things from the
I need
internet.
you to actually just like do a whole song about the Cold War, and I think kids will start to get it.
Oh my God. I don't know how I would do that. I mean, yeah. But you know what? You have a point there. I remember learning a lot about human anatomy from the Bone song in Hannah Montana. Anyone else?
There we go. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Another rock artist.
Yeah.
My queen.
I love Miley and I love Hannah Montana, and
Me too.
I'm
Me
40.
too.
I want to go back to what you were saying about your lyricism and the profundity, which I guess is the real word of it.
Is it?
I think the profundity.
Is that a word? I was gonna say I like this word.
All right, so LØLØ and her profundity is the title of this episode. I remember like back in the day, there were a lot of artists who were writing very generalized and sort of like, I don't want this to be like, this is a moment for me, but I want it to be open-ended for the audience to kind of see themselves in the music versus like saying, this happened to me and now people I think are writing way more of like, this is exactly the specific thing that happened to me. Like more lyrics about like the internet, more lyrics about specific places, more lyrics that are like, no, this just happened to me. I don't need you to see yourself in this, but I hope that you can. Like, do you find that like audiences still are like being able to relate to you, even though you get more like, hey, this is just specifically for my music, for me?
It's so funny that you say that, or that you asked that, because yeah, I actually had this realization a couple years ago, I guess. And I used to, especially when I first started writing, and a lot of these songs were never even released, thank God. But I was trying to appeal to the masses. I really wanted to be relatable, and I would change a lyric if it didn't sound relatable or if it was too specific. But then I kind of was like, I'm going to try doing like the specific thing. And I remember I released such a specific song. It's the first verse of my song, Hot Girls in Hell. And it's like, I called you, and then you'll call me back, and then you'll start picking off your nails when you don't reply, and then you have a drink with vodka and ginger ale, like so specific. And I remember after that song specifically, I got so many messages, the most out of like ever, DMs, comments. Oh my God, this is about me. This is about me. You wrote this about me. You wrote this about my ex. And that's when I realized that I think the more specific you get, the more people can see themselves in it. I don't know if it's because they can feel the authenticity of the situation, or I don't know if it's just because like it's so real for you that they picture that, and that they could feel the feeling and they picture that feeling and it's like so real for them. Or if everyone just has an ex that called them back, then you called and then they picked off their nails and they love vodka and ginger ale. I don't know, but I'm going to guess that it's the first option. And so after that, I actually started being really specific in my writing.
I mean, I will say, as someone who has dated men, there's a crazy stuff out there. So like, yeah, it makes sense. And I think too, because within our pop punk era and genre, we know that it is very saturated with male identities. So to hear a woman come out and be in this space, having this type of musical style, and having it from that perspective, I think is also very different, and also giving a lot more visibility to the fans that are pretty majority female, finally having people who can kind of speak to their own actual backgrounds and what they've experienced, rather than kind of be on the receiving end with some more older pop punk songs where it's like, I hate this girl because this and this.
Yeah. 100%. I agree.
Why are more women not writing "I hate this man" type music? Like I know
I feel like
there's
they
plenty.
are. I feel like a lot of women are writing that kind of song, honestly. And I see a lot of people commenting like, "Oh, like imagine a guy wrote this about a girl. This would never fly." And it's like,
allow me to show you
fine.
the entire history of recorded music.
But you guys can do a lot of things that we can't.
100%.
Okay, like you guys get paid more, so we can sing about guys fucking sucking if we want.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like we've had an entire history of recorded music of men saying like women are this.
Do you know how many bands have gotten pseudo canceled like 20 years later for stuff they put out?
Yeah, but like I want more women being like, and dudes do this, and I want to be there in the crowd going, hell yeah, they do.
And then it's like, Brian?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like here's the thing. Men can pretty much do everything. What do women get? We get to write songs about men if we want to, and we get to go off the Titanic first. Like besides that, what else? Like, we have to take our wins. Like,
well, we still have to figure out if the Titanic is real, but if it is, then yes, that is something that the women get to do first.
No, you know, the women got off first, like slay. I love that for women.
Yeah. Do you want to know they actually had to come up with that rule, because that is a rule when evacuating, it's women and children first, because when they first started having certain disasters like that with mass transportation, men would absolutely just abandon everything and not help anybody.
Shame
on them. Shame on men from the Titanic.
Brian, would you help a woman on the Titanic?
Listen,
Brian.
The other side of this is like, we're emo kids. We stay at home all the time. Like, where am I going?
Yeah.
Why am I on the Titanic?
You look at me last week and say, we need to go on the Emo's Not Dead cruise. What happens?
Oh, fuck.
Oh, that's a good question.
Oh, man. Hey, I'm going to really think about this, and I'm going to come back with an answer when we're not recording so that I don't have to be held accountable for my... Damn.
Don't worry. I would also run for my life if I was
100%.
Titanic, so don't worry.
Oh, yeah.
Don't worry.
I'm helping everybody
I wouldn't be
off.
helping.
Are you?
I could not help. I couldn't help. I would just shut down and start crying, I think.
Yeah.
I think I would just start pushing everyone into a boat. Be like, get in, get in.
Yeah.
Like, let's go.
Yeah.
That would be the
Way
position
more
I take.
of us can fit in here than we're putting.
But everyone is skinty. Don't worry, get in here.
Oh, my God.
We can all fit.
Imagine them saying skinty on the Titanic as it goes down. My skinty queens,
Oh,
please
my
get
God.
to the boats.
R.I.P.
Oh, man. Sorry, you have to ask the next question. I'm thinking too many bits about the Titanic.
Sorry, guys. I totally
It's okay.
put us on
No,
this.
It's fine.
this is what we want.
Yeah,
This is
we
what we
do
like.
this. This is
Yeah.
we're more conversational. We're not like question answer. We obviously have questions, and you obviously have
Okay, cool,
answers.
cool.
But we're chill people by
But now
comparison.
I can't stop thinking about skinty
Okay, sick.
queens on the Titanic.
Anyway, so for this next album, you are having this released under Fearless after being on Hopeless previously. What caused that switch in labels?
Honestly, like I love Hopeless so much. I miss them, but I love Fearless too. It was honestly just not clearly. That's not the word I'm looking for. A business decision in terms of like funding for my album, and that's all it was. Fearless is running through Concord Universal Music, so it's like you have a little bit more opportunity with that. So it's like it is an indie label, but it's also connected to a major. So there's just certain things that I was offered that I wouldn't necessarily be able to get at Hopeless, and that was the only deciding factor. And it was still very hard because I love Hopeless so much. Specifically love Eric Tobin. I'm sure you guys know him.
Yep.
But yeah, it was sad because I feel like both labels are such family vibes. So it was really sad to leave Hopeless, but I'm happy that I'm with Fearless now. And it's also such a family vibe there. I love them so much. And I think like on paper, actually one of the producers that I worked with on this album, he always talks about like, putting things into the universe and like the way that things are said and, your mindset. And he's like, he was like, I think like before you were hopeless, now you're fearless. Like, I feel like that's like a good vibe putting it into the universe. Like you're fearless now. Like you fucking got this. Like your music's going to do well. And I was like, yeah, I like that. I like that decision. But obviously I love Hopeless. I will never say one bad thing about them. And I miss them dearly. And every time I see them or any of their artists that I know, I run into their arms.
I remember back in the day when it was like record labels were almost like sports teams. And now I'm like, well, you're all on Warped Tour. Like you're all going to hang out,
We're High School Musical on this together, literally.
Yeah. Like you don't have to compete.
Yeah. I think they're all friends too,
I mean,
Oh yeah,
how can you not
everybody
be?
just intermingles. The few times I've been out at a couple industry events and parties out in LA, everyone's hanging out with everybody, which is nice to see because I do feel that if people aren't associated as much in the music industry, they think everyone is like 1v1 against each other. And it's like, no, everyone's pretty normal.
No.
Everyone's pretty chill with each other, actually.
For sure.
You're doing Warped Tour.
I am. I'm doing all of them except Orlando.
What? That's the best one. We're in
Is
Chicago.
it?
We don't really have any.
Well, that was the only Warped
attachment.
Tour we went on
Okay.
this past one, so we're claiming it is the
Yeah.
best one.
We had a
No,
great
I had
time.
to
We
miss
went
that one
Disney.
this year too. I was supposed to be there, but I had a vocal polyp, vocal surgery situation. So I had to cancel that, which was really sad.
Yeah. Well, we'll be set.
But I heard it was awesome.
It was great.
And I'll miss it again this year. Can't wait.
And we'll miss you there again this year.
Well, we'll be at other dates,
it's okay.
assumingly.
I'm gonna do my own Orlando thing. So
Oh,
that's the reason I'm not doing Warped Tour.
That's fair.
But it's not announced yet. But you guys will see. Everyone listening will see.
Everyone in Florida. We're in Chicago. I don't know why we're repping Orlando so hard right now. Like we have no attachment to Orlando aside from we went there last year and had a great time at Disney World. So
Yeah.
It is awesome. I was just about to say Disney World. Oof. We
had a great time. We did not make it around Epcot, drinking around the world.
no,
at that,
we
but
tapped out partway through because we had to go on the Guardians of the Galaxy ride instead.
Ooh, I heard that was amazing.
It's
That
so
was
good.
so good.
It was so good. Anyway, Warped Tour, right? You're doing Warped Tour. You know, as I guess in the grand context of Warped Tour, a newer artist, being that last year was probably, I'm assuming, the first time you ever had an opportunity to do any Warped Tours. How does it feel to be in the scene? How does it feel to have been there and doing it now that it's back?
It feels amazing. Honestly, the first Warped Tour felt very scary. When I first heard Warped Tour was coming back, my friend had told me, "Oh, it's coming back, by the way." And I remember I emailed my manager and agents, and I was like, "Am I cool enough for this? Am I gonna, like, is there a way that I could be on this? Because I would die to be on this." And they were like, "Yeah, we submitted you, so we'll see." And turns out I am cool enough for it. I was very excited to get the offer, and yeah, and then somebody sent me this video of Kevin Lyman talking about me in 2021. He was talking about me because I was the opener on the Newfound Glory Pop Punk Still Not Dead tour, and I guess he had discovered me then, and he was talking about how he thought I was awesome, and I was like, oh my God, I was so worried about not being on Warped Tour, and then Kevin Lyman has been talking about me in interviews since 2021, and I found someone else sent me another one from 2022, and I was like, this man has been talking about me, and I had no idea. I would have felt so much better about this and had no anxiety, but I just found it after the fact, which I think is funny because now I absolutely love Kevin and know him. But yeah, so normally I don't get scared for any of my shows. I'm very just not scared. I don't know. I'm blessed to not be scared before shows, but for Warped Tour, I was petrified because common theme. I'm always scared that I'm like not sceney enough for the scene, and I get scared that people don't accept me because I am a masochist, and sometimes I look at Reddit at like past midnight when I can't fall asleep and look my name up. And like, you know, people have opinions about me. I think I'm like a little bit polarizing in the scene, which I could totally understand because I don't think I'm that punk, but like I think the lyrics that I write and like my attitude leans that way for sure. And you know, I have the guitars and I wear a plaid skirt, which is pretty fucking punk.
That's
just kidding.
so punk.
No, sometimes I feel like I'm grouped in because of how I dress. But yeah, I was really scared that people weren't going to like me or no one was going to come to my set. I've had a drink thrown at me before when I played at Slam Dunk Fest. It was just like by this loser, and I ended up verbally destroying him. So it was fine. And I got so many followers from the whole experience. So it was totally fine. But yeah, because of that, even though I played it off like I didn't care at all, I am really sensitive on the inside. And it was traumatic having that happen to me. And I remember actually, I once met Green Day at a bar on a Wednesday night. And I ended up hanging out with Billy, Joe Armstrong, and Mike, but mostly Billy. And I had a deep talk with him in which he told me that he was telling me about how people thought that they weren't punk enough and like would throw shit at them. And I remember in that moment thinking, okay, I'm going to have a real problem here because if people don't think Green Day, who I think are like my rock idols, are rock or punk enough, I'm going to have a real problem here. So I need to be wary of this, and I need to be prepared to have things thrown at me or, you know, that kind of stuff. And so because of that reason, I was very scared to do Warped Tour, but it was such stupidity because it ended up being the best performance ever. There was so many people. My nerves totally went away after like song 3, I think. But yeah, I was nervous as fuck. Can I swear on here? I was nervous as hell.
As much as you want.
Okay.
And it's you know, I was going to ask before you told the story about Green Day, like, well, you did like the Simple Plan, Bowling for Soup 303 tour. And I was like, well, I wonder, like, you know, as a younger artist, as a newer artist going out on Warped Tour, which I think has a lot of bands that have been around in the scene for 30 or 40 years or however long they've been there. And being a new artist, I can understand being nervous about how, like, you know, A, the fans, but also B, the other bands on the tour are going to feel about you. But bringing in Green Day, I'm like, well, okay, that example kind of is like, you know, who would you rather be called more punk by, Green Day or Simple Plan? And I'm like, Green Day.
Green Day, yeah.
I guess, yeah. I mean, I've gotten so lucky that I've met pretty much every single artist that I loved as a kid. Besides My Chemical Romance, I've never met them. But I was like growing up, I was obsessed with Green Day, Avril Lavigne, and Simple Plan. I've met all of them. I've toured with one of them. I've hung out with another. And I'm just like, what the hell? Like, and they think that I'm cool. So that I was like, what? It never computes fully. But yeah, so if they think I'm cool enough or punk enough, then everyone else could get fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the thing is too, is that so many people are unaware, unsure of like what punk really is and like the actual introduction of it into the music world. And it is definitely a vibe and a lifestyle. It isn't necessarily how you dress, which we're kind of getting into that with like, emo and even some parts of goth, which that's a whole other different thing. I'm not going to touch that part because I don't need a bunch of goth people yelling at me on the internet. It's the last thing I need.
It's the post show.
I know. I hate when people yell at you. Like, why can everyone just stop yelling? And like everyone just do their own thing. And like, if you want to be, in the scene, or if you want to be this, or if you want to be goth or punk, like you just do you, and like no one else has to comment on it. If only,
Right.
It's imagine like paying $150 to go to Warped Tour to yell at somebody. Like, I'm sorry, but like save your money.
But you know what? I think mostly like that's not the crowd. I feel like the Warped Tour crowd actually, and I had no reason to be nervous because I feel like the Warped Tour crowd, the people that are there are so accepting and are so open to discovering new music. And I think that's what makes Warped Tour so special. In terms of the way that it is as a festival, I feel like that's why it's different than other festivals, because like everyone is so accepting and looking for new music. And Kevin stresses so much on trying to get acts that are, up and coming and stuff. And people end up being really big. So I think that's really cool. Yes. Okay. So I just recently went on Reddit because when the Warped Tour lineup got announced, and first of all, I noticed that this year, in terms of this year comparing to last year, I feel like I got like so many positive comments and people knowing who I am, and really nothing negative at all. Like maybe, the typical 3 or 4 here and there. But I actually like sent my team a message being like, everyone likes me this year. Things are really taking a turn. So that was really awesome. In terms of something weird, I can't really remember anything super mean, even though I'm sure there was. But I did find this like subreddit, or I don't even know what you would call it. If it was just like musicians wearing knee-high socks. And there's like a whole thing of me in my knee-high socks and different types of knee-high socks that I'm wearing. And I was like, this is kind of crazy. So that is probably the weirdest thing I've found of myself.
I feel like that's like some odd thing that some weird guy is like, look at these girls in knee-high socks. And it's like, that is a part of fashion that is there.
Yeah. It was so funny. I was just cackling, honestly.
Lolo, before we kind of wrap up here for today, is there anything else that you want to say to either the haters or in general that we maybe didn't cover, or you just really want to get out there to everyone?
I would just say check out my album, God Forbid a Girl Spits Out Her Feelings. Listen to it and cry, scream, get therapy from it, or just dance along. And I hope that it helps you in some way, and that you can relate to it.
If I can relate to it, anybody can relate to it.
I love that for
As
you
an old
and
man.
for me.
Well, thank you, Lolo. We're very excited to see
Thank
you
you.
at as many Warped Tours as we can this year, and as many
Yes,
Riot Fests as we
please.
can in the future. And
Yes.
we're very much looking forward to the record as well. So we will we'll hopefully see you again soon. We'll see you live and
Amazing.
in person.
Yes, please. I would love to have you guys out at a show too in Chicago.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you again.
Yay.
Yeah, thank you, Lolo.
Thank you.
For being low, I felt high.
I'm going to actually leave now.
I got to stop doing bits on the pod. But a fun time. Lolo is very nice and funny and entertaining, and her music's good. So we've got to stop talking about national tragedies on episodes.
I don't try to bring these things up
Here's the thing. I say that and I don't mean it. I'm gonna be honest. I don't mean it. I think that like we are in a very niche scene in this world. Like Warped Tour, while it is a national thing, people know Warped Tour. People are aware of Warped Tour. Not everybody knows the bands that were on it. Not everybody can name all the artists that have ever played it. And we are in a very specific place in our world where it's like, yeah, we can. We know a lot about this. This is our world. This is our space, right? And so in order to get some attention on our niche podcast, our niche music podcast, what if we just gave our opinions on the Titanic? Also, what opinions can you have on Titanic? Oh, man, that ship
went down.
Oh,
was
no.
it really the actual Titanic, or was it these other one that they swapped it out with?
The opinion, but okay. That's actually true, though. There were 3 Titanics.
See?
But that's a true story. It's not a conspiracy. They made
but
3 ships.
We could talk about.
Okay. Let's talk about it. There were 3 ships. The Herculean and the Olympia were the 2 other ships. Yeah, I'm doing this all off the dome, by the way. So fuck you. I'm doing this off the dome.
Yeah.
There were 3 ships that were built to be the Titanic. The Titanic was the only one that took a voyage, and the other 2 never did. The Olympia, I believe, got turned into a hospital in London, but then was decommissioned and I believe dismantled. But I do think the Herculean also sunk. There were 2 Titanics that sunk.
Because they were going to try to make it like Titanic 2, basically.
Yeah,
it might be like,
the T2.
The T2?
The T2. The H1T2.
Anyway.
Isn't that the scientific designation for COVID? That's true. There were 2 Titanics that sunk. It just wasn't called the Titanic. These are not conspiracy theories. These are actual things that happened. It turns out you don't maybe build just one ship with all the infrastructure that you've created to build a ship and then go, oh, it sunk. What are we going to do with these other 2 ships? Anyway, it wasn't a national tragedy, but it is important for us to bring this up in order to bring attention.
That was an international tragedy.
To small up-and-coming artists by virtue of how they were impacted by national and international tragedies from the 1930s.
That's not when the Titanic sank.
When did the Titanic sink?
1910.
When did the Herculean sink?
I don't know. I can tell you about the transatlantic 1912 law for radio broadcasting for help after the Titanic sank.
That shit, Lizzie, she's boring as hell. That shit is boring as hell. Great talk with LØLØ. I hope we can bring some attention to her. We're talking a little bit about like what we talked about in the interview. I do want to talk a little bit about female artists in rock. And I know we've talked a bit about like pop music and how like a lot of bands, if they're dudes playing guitar, it does kind of end up being seen as a rock band, even when they're making what is pop music. Mm-hmm. Plain White T's comes to mind. Plain White T's to me is a pop band, although they are thrown in a lot with rock and pop punk. I'm like, yeah, on the other side of this, if a female artist has a guitar in it, it's still seen as pop. And I do think that comes down to them being a female artist. Avril Lavigne is often seen as a pop artist, but I'm like, well, although her music is pop leaning and there's a lot of pop influence in it, I absolutely see her as a rock music as well. Skater Boy, Complicated, I see as rock songs. I wonder if a lot of artists are thought of as pop artists who are actually rock artists from, especially that time, as we talked about in the interview, Ashlee Simpson, Avril Lavigne, Hilary Duff, are these, if they have rock songs, are they rock musicians? I
think for that, it really came down to, especially if we're thinking about back in the 2000s, what label were they on if they had a label? Where did they originate from as well? And
Disney
what
Channel.
other type of music was being played before and then there and after, which a lot of the times was usually pop before they went into experimental phase because that was the type of music that was doing really well commercially.
Yep.
And some people stuck with it. Some people didn't. Sometimes you can hear it more infused in other, music that they do have. But I think that would be the biggest thing of why I would say there was a lot more female pop artists then. And I would even argue now, too. I wouldn't necessarily put LØLØ in pop, and I think people are remiss to do it. And I think it's just because it is a woman singing about love and heartbreak, but we have a billion male pop punk bands that are doing the same exact thing.
Yep.
And it's also, I were to think like tonally, too, because within the pop punk genre, everyone's going to, if you listen to like 5 pop punk bands with dudes in it, majority of the time they're going to kind of sound the same to an extent.
They sound exactly the same.
Depending on who you're listening to. But the same thing with women after a certain point. And then it's like, oh, did they start to lean more pop or indie? And those little comparisons draw women out more in the scene because it's just such a rarity and they're not familiar with what a real like pop punk act can sound like with feminine vocals is the other issue, I think. Because if you look at indie rock, there's no issue with that. It is one of the most accepting genres when it comes to, having women in the music sphere and kind of leading it too. But even when you think about emo in the sense of, the 4th and 5th wave, there are a lot of...
No, not real.
It's real. But
there's only 3
No, there's
waves.
5.
There are only 3 ships built. There's no 5th wave. God. There's no 5th wave Titanic.
Are the waves of emo just the Titanic?
Is there an internet?
I will not sink.
Is there an internet page of just like the Titanic iceberg? And it's like, these are all the things about the Titanic. And it's like, dude, come on, too soon. Tell me more.
But I think in like these most recent waves of emo too, I've heard so many more women and also non-binary people who are performing in that space and have louder voices compared to pop punk. Because I think also emo originated from hardcore, we know that, and from punk. And a lot of those, at least for punk, was much more mixed when it came to gender. Hardcore really wasn't. And then we had Riot
Still
Girl.
Still probably isn't.
No. Then we had Riot Girl that happened, which was obviously more punk, but it got more people in. But I think that's it because we see it in so many other genres, but we have really rarely seen pop punk have a strong female vocalist or even an act that has stood the testament of time. Because I would say Avril Lavigne with Best Damn Thing.
And I think this is a very mainstream conversation. This is like
this is like overarching.
Not just within like our scene or within our niche little subculture of this. I think this is something that like the Grammys would see it as, or MTV would see it as. MTV, who definitely cares about music genres and subculture. It's like we talk about who are the women artists that can do it, and it's Hayley Williams and Avril Lavigne, and those are the 2. And I do think that both of them kind of started as, well, we want you to be a pop artist. Yeah. Like we want you to move into pop. They wanted Hayley to be a pop artist. That's what they talked about with, the 20-year career she had, signed as Paramore and signed as a child to be this artist in that way. And Avril, we know she was like, yeah, we're courting you as a pop artist. We're just going to have guitars in it, I guess. Right. Or you're going to wear,
baggy clothes and like a little bit more tomboy
and skater, and it's like pop music, but it's like in this visual, right? This aesthetic where you're doing that. I think that there is like a sort of marketing and marketability to some of this stuff that people who are thinking of dollar signs versus thinking of genre and subculture are thinking of. We can say like, yeah, from punk and hardcore and all this stuff, but inevitably, like there is somebody who's going to try to market it as like, yeah, let's have this band, but a woman.
Right.
Like to me, when I first heard Paramore, I was like, this is sick. It's Taking Back Sunday, but a girl singing instead of a guy, which I, again, still think is sick. Even if it happens today, I'm like, that's still sick. We need more of it. But then we look at like mainstream and it's like, yeah, that's Hayley Williams. She's like the one woman in rock music.
It's this one thing. It's the tokenization when it comes to women in this scene, because it gives the vibe of, oh, we already got one of those. We don't need another one though.
So yeah, and I feel that too with all the different artists and any artist of not a straight white male background. I'm like, you do fear like tokenization of all of it because it becomes like, we need that but black, we need that but woman. And it's like, wow, fuck that. But like, let just people make music and then give them resources to do whatever they want with that music. The problem of the biggest bands being all white dudes, and yes, we're making 2 episodes about race. People will be mad at me in the comments, but it's just like, where do you find the opportunity for these artists when everybody in the audience has been fed the same big bands forever, and a magazine or a radio station needs to sell something, right? And if all I ever went to listen to is bands no one ever listens to or knows, no one's going to tune in. No one's going to check it out. And then you can't like promote yourself and the thing you're trying to make.
And the biggest thing is also just being curatorial though, because you have to curate it and then you have to create things around it to promote it and stand with it.
It's why I think like, number one, there's not just 2 places to go anymore, which is great.
Right, there's so many
1,000 places to go. And I do think like maybe the best way to get to not feel like you're pandering and to get new artists recommended is like to just create your own create your own podcast where you talk about bands you just like, you know? But there has to be new spaces for a lot of people that are not getting the attention and the spaces in this other stuff in order to grow into something where it does. You know, to me, like one example I always bring up is I didn't know who Chappell Roan was before 2024. Right. And then all of a sudden everyone knew who Chappell Roan was because her music was undeniably good. And so putting Chappell Roan on your magazine cover or playing Chappell Roan on your radio station is not going to be a sense of pandering. Like, oh, look, we're playing a woman right now.
It's like we have to do it because now she is in the cultural zeitgeist too.
Yeah. And so I don't know. It's not necessarily pandering if they're in the cultural zeitgeist, but to get them into the cultural zeitgeist, you kind of have to pander a little bit. There's this weird chicken or the egg situation where like, until everybody cares, no one's going to care. And how do you make somebody care to where everybody cares now?
I think that there are ways to do it in a strategic way where it doesn't feel that way. And I've seen very rarely people being able to do that because it has to be kind of gradual in your execution of strategy as the content creator, as the radio station, whatever broadcast medium it is, really.
Podcast.
Yeah. To where it doesn't seem like it's virtue signaling. It doesn't seem like people are doing it just because you feel you have to do it because of the current climate and environment, but that you're actually doing it because you believe in it personally, your team believes in it personally. Even if you're just doing it because you're like, damn, we just got to get in there so we can get the listens, the viewership, whatever it is. There are more seamless ways to execute it rather than saying, we heard the kids are talking about this up and coming band over here. We should be talking about it. And it's very clear when people are obviously doing it and they're kind of grasping at straws in order to stay relevant too.
So let me ask you this, because, you know, there's a lot of profiles on the internet that will track how many women or non-men are playing a festival, right? Part of me understands calling that out and seeing laid out bare, this is how many women or non-men are in bands that are playing this festival and how many men are therefore being chosen to play it. And, you know, from our experience, and I'm sure many people know, like, well, yeah, they got to sell tickets.
Right.
And I want to say this so that I'm egalitarian. I understand in some cases where there are people who are like, well, we have to sell tickets, and selling tickets when there are any women or non-men on the lineup is better than if we had no tickets sold because we only booked bands that people didn't really know.
Right.
And we are combating the fact that there are mostly large bands that sell a lot of tickets that are bands full of men that have been around for decades.
Right.
Right. And that's why they sell so many tickets. And the value of doing that is that then you can put more bands that may sell less tickets on those lineups and get attention to them from that. I don't know how these profiles pointing that out to us is really changing anything, besides in the concept of how a booker might say, well, I don't want to have any bad publicity, so I'm just going to throw some women I heard of onto this lineup.
Right. And we saw that with some music festivals where we're like, this just feels like you said, I need a few women. Can you get on here?
When we were young, 2024, all album plays.
It literally was like, it's like, you got one of those. That's how it felt. Anyway,
and the women bands are fucking great on that lineup, by the way.
They were fucking
fuck
sick.
you.
It's like, hey, but
Tonight Alive fucking rules. Dude, why didn't you book them?
The Forecast?
Fucking yeah. Actually, I remember them like being, the Forecast doesn't have any women in it. I'm like, did you look at the fucking band lineup?
With those, I think it's good to say like, here's awareness. But again, I've seen like some music festivals over the years, I think because of it, it's called some more like attention to it, start to slowly, again, they're slowly integrating more of those acts. They're slowly ushering them in. it's not going to be overnight because we have to think about marketing really is what it is at the end of the day. And the bottom line.
How do you sell tickets?
Right.
And you can't sell tickets by virtue signaling.
Right. So you have to.
Frankly.
Right. And you have to be strategic in how you're doing it. Like I know for Warped Tour this year, there is a more female acts that I've noticed at least.
I noticed it with Warped Tour seems to be looking for a diversity of acts, especially this year being Montreal and Mexico City. So there's a lot more. There's a lot of obviously Mexican and Canadian bands, French speakers, Spanish speakers, but also not just playing those two cities. They're playing other cities as well. There's a lot of diversity in the lineup as far as gender, as far as race, as far as background, all that. Yes, absolutely. I also noticed it with Lollapalooza this year because the majority of the headliners are women. But
here's the thing too, just going back to a majority of women who dominate more of the industry is going to be in pop and indie. In
the same context, are we differentiating? Are we saying, well, if genre is dead and there is no genre, does it matter? If Charlie XCX is headlining and can sell a bunch of tickets, isn't that generally a positive thing for having diversity on the lineup, even though it's like, it's her and Smashing Pumpkins, which there used to be women in that band, but Billy Corgan. It's not Billy's fault. It's Darcy's fault, I think.
Oh, so it's a woman's fault?
I think in that case, yeah. All
right. I don't know I don't know about Smashing Pumpkin lore that much.
It's always two bitches sitting around saying exactly.
I would be kind of remiss to kind of lump it in within the alternative scene fully because it was a little bit more eclectic. Was Pitchfork always had a very diverse range.
Alanis
people.
Morissette, man.
Rip Pitchfork. Bring it back to
Morissette,
Chicago.
a rock artist.
That was so good, dude. So good.
She was great.
If we look at anything else and within our subgenres, it's hard to find really anywhere. And I think it also just comes back down to, we've talked to a lot of female artists in the past about how they feel being treated and talked to when it comes to a lot of male artists, how sometimes male artists is like partners are even, there's a lot of misogyny that happens from everybody and kind of getting run out of the scene at some points or being like, this is not worth it. So I also think that we need to factor that in as to why there aren't more out there. I mean, there are some bands that I know should absolutely be bigger than they are with women in it. And for one reason or another, they're not, whether it's not the particular sound of emo that they're going for, or if they are deemed to be like too aggressive or too young, whatever it is. But we don't seem to have that issue when it comes to men.
Maybe we should just allow, if genre is dead, festivals to book whatever they want on the festival and be like, all festivals are now genreless.
Well, then everyone's going to complain like they do about LØLØ not being a full rock fest anymore.
If we keep making decisions because people complain, we will always be stuck doing the same shit.
I know. It's annoying.
Lizzie, where can people complain to us on the internet?
Unfortunately, over on Instagram at Emo Social Club and at X Emo Social Club, X on TikTok.
You can also, if you're listening to this, watch the video version on our YouTube at youtube.com/@ the Emo Social Club and Emo Social Club Podcast. No, it's like YouTube is a very weird like naming convention for the URLs, but Emo Social Club and Emo Social Club Podcast for different types of content. But all of it is something you should subscribe to and like. And if you're listening to this audio wise, go watch the video. But if you're watching this video, go listen to it audio wise, either on the Adobe app every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern time, or on any app where you listen to a podcast.
There's so many of them.
In bands and like people are like, you can listen to us on like, where can people find you? And everyone's just like, the internet. It's like, yeah. Let us know in the comments on Amazon Music and podcasts what you think about that. I'm sure there's a way to let us know on Amazon. Write us an Amazon review on a product. Dude, I think I'm going to bring that back. I'm going to do short form content of bringing back Amazon reviews of albums we love. Go follow us. Go let us know what you think. And listen to LØLÖ's album. It should be out by now, and this episode is available to you. And when you're listening to it, go listen to this record. Girl Has Feelings. Right, Lizzie?
Yeah. Girls have feelings.
All right. We'll catch you next week. Bryce Vine. That's
Bryce
the interview.
Vine.
Bryce Vine. We interviewed Vice Brine. You Can't even say it.
Wow.
Lizzie interviewed Bryce Vine. That's the episode will be out next week.
We talk a lot about Travis Barker.
We'll talk to you then. Bye.